We are building a website, this one. What do you think? Better to use red there? You can find all the code right here. It's in this last one right down here. That one right there. What do you think? Somebody tell me.
Yeah, I like the red.
Let's see what it looks like.
Maybe try different colors to see if maybe.
I think I like the red too.
Kind of reminds me of the Red Cross or something.
Me too.
Yeah.
So does blue still work with that?
Try.
And we need to shift that off the page just a little bit more. And so it's -15, -16, and then we bring it over. When it comes over, it goes to left 0. That's fine. There, it's off the screen completely now. And maybe bring that up into the corner just a bit more. So that's the label. And the label is top one rim. We could go 0.7, 0.7. That's better. What else can we do? I want to do a little bit of a transform. I want that plus sign to spin when you click it. So what is being clicked? It's the label, right? This label is being clicked. That's where the SVG with the plus is. Where do we have our code for the label? Up here, body label, body label. So body label. And the label, hover. And transform, rotate 720 degrees. And that's it, right? Happened really fast. Let's do it at 120. It doesn't go back. Maybe on desktop it would look right. So that's kind of cool if it's 180. I wonder if there's like a, oh, this would be cool. So if this is checked, if that's checked, that's doing the header. So we're doing input is checked. Input is checked. And when the input is checked, is there some way to select the label above it? There's no selector for above, right? CSS selector, previous sibling. CSS selector, previous sibling. No. But we did see that there was this deal that we could actually have the label. Let's see where Indian label.
Rather than trying to affect the previous sibling, you can target the ID.
Nice. So we give this label an ID. And the ID is
Well, it also has a class already, so you just use the class.
but we need it for the label because this is different. SVG and HTML are different. And so when but this would be saying here, select everything that is under checked, that is has that ID. So what we need is to see, I want to go look up label here and look at examples. Label input, label element represents caption, flow content, permitted content, attributes for. The idea of a label form related element in the same document as the label element. The first such element in the document with an ID matching value is the label controlled for this label. Label element can have both for attribute and contained control element as long as the for attribute points to the contained control element. Form. Label can be associated with control either by placing the control element inside or by using the for attribute. Such a control is called the labeled control of the label element. One element can be associated with multiple labels. Labels are not themselves directly associated with forms. They're only indirectly associated with forms. So we could put that anywhere, I think, is what that's saying. So we could take input and have it above. And then here, we want this to be, instead of immediate direct sibling, all siblings that follow. And here, we want this to be immediate direct sibling, and it's going to be label. Yes? Does that make sense? And we want that label to transform. And do I have my transform on here still? We want that label to transform 180 degrees. It jigs a little. That's weird. You know why that's jigging a little? If I put this to 120, it's just the SVG is in itself.
It could be that the file is not saved as a perfect.
He's right. The SVG is not in the center of the view box.
Yeah.
But when it switches, you don't really notice it. So that is pretty cool, right? The plus becomes the X to close that. Now, would you want this plus to move with this? I think it should move with it. What do you think? Like come out here. So how do we do that?
You're already affecting the label to turn. You might as well affect it on the left as well.
What's a better way? How do we connect elements to move together? What kind of positioning? What kind of positioning? So yeah, fixed is to the page, relative is to itself, absolute is to something else, right? Let's see if we could have this absolute. Here is the checkbox, and if it's, that's the plus the SVG. And if we want to move in relation to the header, it has to look up the DOM, and it's not currently in the DOM. But if we put it inside of header, which is really what it is, it's part of header. If we put it inside of header, then it will look up to the header, and we can move it in relation to header. Is there any argument for not having it inside header? No, it's really part of the header, right? The menu bar and the logo that's over on the left. And do we want Aegean skates to be, when we're desktop, I want to have the header bar across the top. And so it makes sense to have Aegean skates H1 there, because then we do Flexbox left, right. But for Aegean skates on mobile, I think it makes sense to have it at the top of the page, doesn't it?
Yes.
So we need, let's try a little reorganization here. We'll put this inside here, right?
I don't think you need to do that.
And this here. How do we use absolute and connect it to the header, which slides in and out? You just want to move the position, not have it connected.
Then you would affect it.
Then what?
You
What you thinking, Robert?
think that if you want the mobile version for it to drop down rather than come to the side, you would just have to change the viewport minimum, like based on that. It's rather than having it 100 viewport height and like whatever viewport width, you reverse that and have it come from the top rather than the left.
I want the plus sign to move out.
Okay.
You know, to slide out here and be right there, and then to slide back.
Then that should be positioned before the header absolute. Well, it doesn't matter where it is on the HTML as long as they're floating in the same area, I think.
It's kind of nice having the, how do most phones work? Where's the close tab on those?
Top right corner.
Top right of that little flyout. I think this one needs to come up a little bit. But as soon as we refresh this, it's going to break. So let's try it this way and see what happens, okay? So we have the SVG, and this is just basically ignorable code. That's just like setting up our SVGs. So let's look at this HTML body label. So we have body label. It's now header label, right? It's in the header. And this is header label. And this is header input. And this is header input. And this is header input. And then we have body header. And then we have header H1. And this is body H1. But I guess we could just say that's H1. And we could probably just say this is header. And this one needs to go up here. Just kind of keep them in order. And then this one comes up here. And we'll put that here. I like that. And for H1, let's see what it looks like, see if it still works. Nope. So why did that break? Header label. I'm thinking maybe CSS specificity broke it.
Which part?
So it's no longer sliding out.
Oh, CSS.
And CSS specificity. And we have header, specificity of 1. And then we have the header label, and for header nav. And then we have header label SVG plus. Header label SVG plus, and we do some color. And then we have header input type checkbox. We're not showing that. And we have header input, header nav checked, and then we're trying to select the header. That's why that doesn't work. It needs to be above it so we can select the sibling to come out. So we have to roll all this back. And we have to roll this back. That should work. So how do we get that to move with it? We could just change the position.
What if you put it within the header and, like I said, my idea would to assign it relative to the left. So if the header is over here and that's off to the side, then just slightly, then it'll move with the size of it. But I don't think that'll work properly.
We could also just,
If you do put it inside, though, you're gonna have to change the.
this one right here, we could do, so the header, the SVG is right here. And we could do, and that is header nav, right? Right there, header nav, label for header nav. And then down here we have the label. And I think we could add this onto this label here, just in case there's a couple of labels. Well, that's the header nav checked. So this says, choose the label that is an immediate sibling of checked, which is right there. Cool. And it should have for header nav, which is that attribute selector. So that's just being really specific so that we don't get collisions with our CSS in case we had. But this is going to be the only label that's an immediate sibling, so that's not necessary. But right here, up here, we select the label there, and we're also selecting the label here, body label. And so we could, and the body label's position fixed, so we could just do left right here, and it's 0.7 rem. And we're moving out from -16. We're moving out a width of 15 rem because it's going to 0. It's going to 0. And it's 15 wide, so we could just move this one out left 15, and that should bring it out. We want to move it the exact amount, but that's going to be too far. So now let's look at it. So we can move it out 14, 12, 11, mobile, and we could give this a transition. So the label, transition all, transition duration 1 second, transition property ease, oops, transition timing function ease, and maybe bring it down to 500 milliseconds like that one.
What if that works? What if other than that, I realize what I meant was a margin left? Because if that object comes out and it still has a margin, then it'll be pushed with it. But you would have to margin it not to the size of it itself. You want it within it, but like the text within. So the margin to the H1. Can you do that?
I think I want a little bit more room on that. Margin to the H.
That's what I was thinking.
And add 2 to this one. 2. Where's the 2? The text is too close to the edge, right?
A little bit.
So padding left on, this is here, so padding left on header. Position, top left, width, height, border, right. Background color, padding left, 1 rem. And H1 should come down a little bit. And we'll make it come down 4. And padding left, 1.5 rem. And have it come down 5. I'm a little transfixed. How many people like that?
I think if the plus didn't move with the bar, then it would be fine. But with that setup, I think the title is too low.
Well, we'd have more options here on the menu, and each one's going to pop up when we hover over it. And eventually a G in skates for mobile will be right here. And so that's where we need to sort of, this will be the desktop of G in skates, and then this one will be the mobile. So, right, we need to get that right there. And it'd be nice on that white smoke, transparency,
You may need it to be stronger than just, yeah. if you want to be able to read what pops up as well, and have content underneath.
Cool, right? I think that blue line, I don't know if that blue line fits quite so much anymore. We went a little bit away with that gray. Maybe make that a black line. Design is so subtle. All right. So now we want to have a little pop-up over hover over these things. And so this one is going to be header H1. This is going to be display none. Because we're going to use that for desktop. And header nav will have that in it. So we have something here. We should still have stuff. And so that's the nav. It positions it. Since it's absolute, it looks to the header and it just brings it down off the top of that one, FiberM. So it keeps it with it. And Aegean's, the H1 inside header is display none. How do we get that header H1 to be centered? Body just H1. Let's look at that first. Body H1. That's all only immediate, first level. So this body, right, that's holding this first level, but that's not first level. And we need this font. And text align center, border, 1 pix, solid red. So I put the border around just so you can see the H1 goes the whole width because it's a block level element. And we want that Aegean skies there. And since the other one is display none, we could say, hey, all H1s on this page. So we just set the font family once, but that's going to be text align center. I think that might be okay. Border 1 pix solid red. Or we could just keep it precise. That might be better. And just duplicate this one. That way we don't have to worry about how it hits on that one. So on here, I don't think I want that font on the nav. And so for the nav, we could do anchor tags with the attribute href equal to pound. And we want maybe 5 of those. And what else do we need there? Anything? So what are going to be some of the things that we tell people about our business for Aegean Skates? Board, accessories, community support. Will we have anything else? Anchors are inline elements. So we need flex direction column, flex wrap, no wrap, justify content, start, vertical, align items, flex start on the left, right? And then nav hover. And just the nav. So those aren't taking up the full width. So let's go so where is my A in my header? Let's put a border around this. It's in my nav. My header nav. Oh. So maybe make the width of this. All right, that's good. But it's coming off of, why do we get that weird? Why is it going out over the edge? Imagine that this distance here is the same as that distance there.
Did you apply to the A's that they would also be flex elements, or?
So yeah, because just header nav is flex, so that makes the A's flex items. But you're right, when I make the A's flex items, let's see what that does.
Wait,
Flex.
the width of the A is 100% of the nav, but they have the objects inside the header also would have padding pushing them over, right?
I think that's kind of what's happening. Let's see what this does. So that's coming over here because of something here.
Yeah.
So let's see what we pushed over there, and that is in the header. And we have padding left or something. Where's that left? We did a left. Padding left in the header. 1.5 rem. Let's get rid of that. That's cool, but now we need these to come out some, so we'll bring those off of the anchor. .5 rem. And we could get rid of this blue border, and we could get rid of this. We'll leave that red border, and we also want, so that's padding left, and we want padding top and bottom, left, right. So we'll do 3 rem. Too much. But kind of cool. Let's see what it looks like on mobile. Too much. So let's go with 2 rem. I like that. And font size, 1.5 rem. And color, where is it picking up the red color? Right here. Header checked. Header, everything is red. We don't need that anymore. And we'll get rid of that border. And on mobile, what do you think? And make a G in Skates a little bit better at the top. So this one is font size 1.5 rem. Padding top right, bottom left. 1.5 rem, 0, 0, 0, top right, bottom left. So we could just do padding top. I kind of like seeing it like that though. But padding top, I guess, is good enough. Too big. I like it too. Cool. So let's reflect upon our code here for a second. We have the McLeod reset, then we have main. In main, everything we've done on main, this will be applied to our whole website. And for our whole website, we do want this, right? We want that. Because that's our navigation. I think this needs a little bit of a different color. That black isn't quite working for me. Color's a tough deal. All right, so we got that. All this stuff so far is header and navigation. What's next for us?
Maybe play with colors a little more, like colors in the menu. I don't know, yeah. Play around with the colors a little more. You know what I mean?
So play with colors. I think one of the next things it calls me is doing the media query for everything we've done so far. And I'm realizing to do that we need another style sheet. And the style sheet that we need is going to be this. So there's going to be the McLeod reset, and then there'll be the main CSS, which has set everything we've done so far, and then there'll be the main media query, so it'll take everything from mobile and take it to desktop. And then we will add whatever CSS we need for the rest of the page, specific only to index. And as we create accessories and community and support and sales, so I think I'll change this to, because right now we're on boards. No, I guess index is the main one. And if you click a G in Skates, that should take you to home. All right, so we could anchor that. So that's how you get home, is click the thing at the top of the page, the icon, and everything else will take you to boards, accessories, community support. So I'm going to need boards, accessories, community support, and sales. And then for my CSS, I'll need the corresponding CSS for each of those. Which will take care of formatting things that are on the rest of the page. So to flesh all that out, I think this should just be index. So this one's now index. So that's index. So community, it's going to be community CSS and community media query, and this will be community, and this one is boards. This will be boards. Boards. Well, I like that better. And this one will be accessories. This one will be support. And this one will be sales. Did you see the method being used here? The way this is being organized? So now like go to index, and here we could do boards.html and accessories.html and community.html and support.html and sales.html and copy that nav. Let's copy those parts. G in boards, G in accessories, G in community, G in support, a G in sales, and then back to index, a G in skates. I was watching this to see what's changing.
Yeah.
Like, this is legit. Like, in 3 hours, we've set the structure for really good work. And so if you took a day to build somebody's website custom like this, you're delivering a good quality deal to them. And once this stuff's built, you know, like this stuff, okay, this is my one little deal that I like. I'm just going to use this on a lot of projects. Makes a lot of sense. So that's mobile.
Yeah.
In the next video, we're going to do desktop.